So did you get a good look at this person, or was it something other than that?
No, I mean, we just saw him. Yeah.
Saw something.
Saw him walk. I mean, you could see him. And when we were coming up, I mean, we have a brand new pickup. So,
Sure.
You could see him walking right there. And
Okay.
But
do you know were the headlights on bright, or was it not, or something?
I can't answer that. I wasn't driving, so I don't know if they were or not.
Sure.
No, we just bought a brand new pickup, so it's hard to tell with our bright or not.
Who was driving?
My husband.
Okay.
What kind of truck did you guys get?
Dodge Rebel, 2020.
And I know some of them are automatic.
Yeah, this one, in fact, we just had that conversation on the way home if ours was automatic, and it's not.
Okay.
That it switches, so yeah.
Okay.
Because my daughter's car is, so.
Do you remember about any of the surroundings, the area that you might have seen him as he's walking? Okay, so we're probably a little bit more familiar with Highmore because we studied it for the last week and a half. But
I grew up. I'm just trying to remember. I know we were just on the outskirts of Highmore.
Okay.
So, because when we saw him, it was before 10, I think, when we saw him.
How do you calculate that?
Because I had sent my son a text.
Sure.
Because we were all in Huron for a family picnic, and I was checking with him to see if he was home. And I got a response from, I can look, but
if you would, that'd be great.
I was looking at it later.
Sure.
Actually, when all of this came out, because, we saw the guy and then saw all this happen. So it was. Where are you at? Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
That would have been
Saturday the 12th, I think would
Yep.
be the date.
Yeah, it was the 12th.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So at 10 o'clock, I sent him, did you make it home? And then he replied, yep, it was right away. And then I said, we're just going through Holabird.
So you sent that you were just going through Holabird?
How far is Holabird from?
It's Harold. So it's Highmore, Harold, Holabird, and then Blunt. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What time did you send that text saying you were going through Holabird?
Well, it was 10:01, and it was just a boom. So within,
Okay.
Yeah, they were just all right together.
Okay, so it was just it was
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. It wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, probably 10:02, 10:03. Yeah, it was.
And Holabird that's
you mind if I
west
look at
of Pierre, right?
Just, do you think we need a picture for the timestamp?
What she could do, because I don't have my camera, she could take a screenshot and just text it or email it to me
Okay.
with that time stamp.
that would
It should show a timestamp on it.
It does. So, yep, I'll go ahead. It's all right if I crop it down so you just shows that part of it.
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, because that shows the whole conversation is that
Perfect.
is good.
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
And then if you want to send it to my email,
Okay. And what's your email?
It is J as in John, O as in Ocean, A as in Adam, R as in Robert, E as in Edward, N as in Nora, Z as in Zebra, at nd.gov.
Okay. Better attach it. That was mine. It's on my messages and everything telling me. I looked at them. Okay. There, I sent that.
All right. Let's wait and make sure we get it.
Is Dean at work?
I can call him and have him come home if you would like. Do you need to visit with him?
We would like to,
We'd
yeah.
like to.
Okay. Hey, can you come home real quick, please? North Dakota Division of Criminal Investigations is here to speak with us. Yes. Okay, thank you. Bye. He will be here in about 10 minutes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep.
Maddie said that she wasn't sure if it would make a difference, and like I told her that every little piece
Mhm.
we're putting together a big puzzle and try to figure out all the different perspectives and
Right,
such, and
right.
compile it all,
Got it.
and we'll
Perfect.
forward it to whoever needs to have it and, when that time comes.
Yeah, my kids put that on Facebook. I'm like, oh, you should do that because, but yeah,
Yeah, no, that's not how we got your guys' information at all. So,
Yeah.
so when you said that, I'm like, oh, what did he put on Facebook?
Well, because my son posted a picture that Keloland had posted of the car. He
Okay.
shared that on Facebook, and then somebody else made a comment, and my son said, yeah, my parents drove by and saw this and stuff, and that's what
Okay.
because he tagged me and my daughter in it, so that's what I thought that maybe
Okay.
it
Right.
came from that.
So when you guys saw him walking, do you remember? Did he have anything in his hands or anything
I
that you
didn't
saw?
notice.
Did you even?
No,
Okay.
no. Get rid of these. It's your guys' voicemail. And
So was he hard to see when he was walking, or I mean, was he pretty visible? I mean,
and you come right on up on him. You see him and stuff. But I guess I wasn't paying attention enough in the back seat
right?
that if you could see him farther in the, I guess
Okay. Right. That makes sense.
I was sitting, turn it to the middle and looking, but I was kind of looking all over because I didn't have to pay attention really.
You're driving from the back seat.
yeah. I get yelled at for being a backseat driver.
Can't think of anything
I
else.
can't really think of anything else, really.
Yeah, we'll just talk to Dean and
Mhm.
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
that makes total sense.
Mhm.
We're not trying to be secretive.
Right. No,
Mhm.
no, he told me right away. So
Yeah.
No.
All right.
You guys look out of Bismarck.
I'm out of
Where-
Bismarck.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. My sister lives in Mandan.
Okay. What's your sister's name?
Patty Freilich. She works for.
All rise and come to order. Court is back in session.
All rise for the jury.
Everybody be seated, please. May I proceed, Ms. Kaplan?
Ms. McDaniel, you testified about Mr. Rivera's reputation in the community for violence. Are you aware of Mr. Garcia's reputation in the community for violence?
Overruled.
As far as, I mean,
He's a violent guy too, right?
in the past,
Sustained.
Does he also have a reputation in the community for violence?
when he was younger, yes, he used to get in trouble.
But he wouldn't do anything for Charlie Adelson, right?
No,
Because he hated Charlie
he
Adelson.
hated him.
But he would do anything for you, wouldn't he?
No, because sometimes I ask him simple tasks and he can't even do that.
He loved you, didn't he?
I believe so.
He was desperate to get you back. We've heard a lot of evidence about that, haven't we?
Yes, ma'am.
What about for $100,000? Would he do things for that?
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
Okay. Have you seen the deep sea fishing thread states 183?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you already testify on cross with Mr. Zanganeh that, watch your head, please, that you, after reviewing this text, do not believe that Mr. Garcia was actually inviting Mr. Adelson to go deep sea fishing?
You mean Charlie inviting, oh, Mr. Garcia inviting him? No, I believe not.
So that was a joke?
I would took it as a joke. I mean, from reading it,
All
it's
right.
being sarcastic.
Well, you're not just reading it, it was, you were involved in the text, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so was it a joke or not?
To me, yes, it was a joke.
Okay, so you were worried about Mr. Garcia contacting Mr. Adelson,
Yes, ma'am.
but you don't have any knowledge whether he did or that he actually did.
No.
Okay. Why are your lawyers trying to suggest that Mr. Garcia contacted Mr. Adelson?
Why are they trying to suggest that he contacted him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did Mr. Garcia even know that Charlie Adelson was the one paying for this murder?
Just repeat that question again.
Did Mr. Garcia even know that Mr. Adelson was the one behind this whole thing?
What time?
Ever?
I believe not.
Okay, because you didn't tell him who it was, did you?
I didn't know who it was.
You told him it was Wendy, didn't you?
No.
You watched the testimony of Luis Rivera, didn't you?
Yes.
And you testified that he is a gang member, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
That he is a violent person, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Member of the Latin Kings and a crown or head of that organization, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You testified that you know he has a tattoo, a large tattoo on his stomach, and that you know about how many phones he has. Remember that?
Well, he said that he had 2 phones.
Okay. And that you know about some of his criminal activities. You testified about certain things he engages in.
With Rivera, you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. But you also said you don't know him very well
When did I say that?
on direct examination.
I mean, I know of him. I mean, he's been around us before. Like he's.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best friend of your child's father, correct?
I would guess so.
They've known each other since
Since
childhood.
they were young, yes.
So you've known Mr. Rivera as long as you've known Mr. Garcia.
No,
When did you meet Mr. Rivera?
years later.
Okay. Did you hear Mr. Rivera get asked about his opportunities to review the evidence in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've had those same opportunities, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
How much time have you spent reviewing the evidence in this case?
Well, just probably the last month or two because we didn't have a lot of the evidence.
Okay, so before that, you weren't aware of any of the facts of the case.
I was aware of some of the facts of the case.
And it's your testimony that, did your lawyers tell you they didn't have anything until last month?
No, we only had a couple of the things. Like there's certain things that you guys just showed us
Okay.
during this trial right now.
How much time have you spent reviewing the evidence in this case?
How much time? Not
Yeah.
a lot.
How much?
I can't give you a certain
A
time.
couple hours?
Maybe.
And you can read, can't you, Ms.
Yes, ma'am.
McBain? You're an educated person, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
College graduate?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. How far did Mr. Garcia get in school?
He has his GED, but he has certifications as well.
All right. Certifications in?
Masonry,
Okay.
heavy equipment,
Heavy
heavy equipment
did you say?
operation.
All right. And did you have a lot of control over Mr. Garcia? I mean, were you the
Yes.
one that wore the pants in that relationship when y'all were together?
I mean, he listened to certain things, but there's a lot of things that he just wouldn't listen to as well.
Okay. And when he was working, his paychecks went directly into your account. Is that right?
In what job?
Whenever he was working, did that, you tell me?
Yeah, he'd give me a portion of his paycheck.
A portion or the whole thing?
Sometimes a portion, sometimes the whole thing. It depends. It's not a set amount.
Okay. At the time frame that we looked at for purposes of this investigation, his whole paycheck was going into your account. Would you agree with that?
Objection does overruled.
Would you agree with that?
His whole paycheck when he was working in Rapid Capital,
Yes.
I don't believe he was giving me his whole paycheck.
Okay. In the time frame leading up to the homicide that we're here about,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garcia was living with this exotic dancer who was known by the name of Shrimp,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And he was not steadily employed at that time,
No,
correct?
ma'am.
And in fact, he had no vehicle at that time.
I believe he did have a vehicle.
Okay, what vehicle did he have?
I don't know because he's always changing up his cars.
Okay. And rarely had any money during that time frame. Would you agree with that?
When he was living with her,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if he had a steady income on something, but he did have money.
He was living off of her. Would you agree with that, or you don't
No.
know? You don't agree with
I
that?
wouldn't know.
He took off work to come to Tallahassee in June of 2014, and that was at the Coastal Masonry. Did you know about that, that he had taken off work during those days?
I didn't even know he was working at that time.
And you didn't take him to the rental car place?
No, ma'am.
Why do your phone records put you there that time frame?
It was around other businesses. I don't recall what I did that day.
You don't recall what you did that day, but you know you didn't go to that rental car place, right?
Yeah, no.
That you do remember.
Yes, ma'am.
If you had fled to the Philippines as your attorney suggested you could have still been arrested for this murder, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, and your fleeing could have been used against you as consciousness of guilt, right?
But why would I leave?
I don't know. That's my point. You wouldn't.
I
You admitted
didn't.
you lied on your tax returns, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you admitted you lied to the Department of Children and Families, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know what the statute of limitations is on those crimes?
No, ma'am.
Your attorney didn't advise you that it would be okay to admit those crimes because the statute of limitations had run?
It was the truth, ma'am. She was asking me a question.
So you don't know about that.
No,
As
ma'am.
far as you know, you could be charged with that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you've admitted that you had a sexual relationship with both Sigfredo Garcia and Charlie Adelson around the same time frame.
Yes, ma'am.
And they knew about each other, according to your direct examination.
Yes, ma'am.
Meaning they knew each other existed, or they actually knew that you were sleeping with both of them at the same time?
No, they knew each other existed.
Okay.
Yes.
So they didn't know that each one didn't know you were sleeping with the other one.
No, ma'am.
All right. So you were lying to them about that.
I mean, I didn't think that I had to tell either one that I was sleeping with the other.
Okay. And that's also known as lying. Would you agree?
No, I don't agree with that.
Okay. You understand that today you're sworn to tell the whole truth.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you also lied to Charlie Adelson about, I think, certain things that were happening around the time of that bump and that wire.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You lied to him when you told him that you had called the number on the paper,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
And you were actually trying to get Mr. Garcia to call that number, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you tell Mr. Garcia that you were trying to get him to call the number for Mr. Adelson?
No, ma'am.
All right. And you testified on direct that the reason you went to Mr. Garcia for assistance is not because he had something to do with this murder, but because he's your child's father and that's who you go to when you have a problem, right?
Well, at that specific time, yes.
All right. And that's why you solicited him to commit this murder, right?
No, ma'am.
And he's the person you go to when you have a problem.
You would insinuate that, yes, but that's your opinion.
No, I'm
That's not what
asking you.
happened.
Is that a person you go to when you have a problem?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't ask Mr. Garcia to help this lady get her kids back in Tallahassee?
No, ma'am.
You didn't solicit him to commit a murder of Dan Markel?
No, ma'am.
Do you know who Tuto is?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is Tuto?
Sigfredo Garcia,
And who is Tato?
Luis Rivera.
And when Charlie Adelson told you that the person that approached his mother said these names, you didn't tell him that you knew exactly who those people were, did you?
Didn't tell whom?
Charlie Adelson.
That I didn't tell him who Tudo was? He didn't mention Tudo's name until later on.
He mentioned Tuto's name on those wire calls, didn't he?
Yeah, on the phone calls.
And he mentioned Tato's name on the wire calls.
But that was later on.
Okay, whenever it was.
Yeah.
He mentioned those names to you and you didn't say, oh, I know exactly who that is. That's my baby daddy and his best friend.
But he knows Tudo's name. So
Okay,
why do I
well, he
have
didn't
to-
act like he knew it on the wire, did he?
Yes.
He did act like
No,
he
he
knew who it
didn't.
was?
He
Oh.
acted like that's why it was kind of weird when he kept saying like taco or whatever. He
Yeah.
knows Tudo's name.
Did he know Tato's name?
No.
Okay, so he'd never met Tato to your
No.
knowledge. All right, and so he knew Tuto's name. Why didn't you say, Tuto, you know who Tuto is? Tuto's my baby daddy.
I just didn't say. I just told you that it sounded weird that he's saying a different name when he knows Tudo's name.
Yeah, it sounded weird. So my question is, why didn't you say, what are you talking about? You know who Tuto is.
I didn't ask.
Overruled.
What's your answer,
I
man?
just didn't ask.
Okay, because you don't ask questions. I mean, haven't we pretty much established that? You
Yes.
didn't ask any questions when this bump went down about what's going on? Why am I getting involved in this? Why would I help you try to figure out who this is that's
I-
extorting your mother?
I did ask.
Compound question, Judge.
It's the same. One question at a time.
When Charlie Adelson told you that his mother had said your name,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, when was that? When did he tell you?
See, the time frame, I'm getting confused because I don't know if it was in a phone call or when he met with me in Dolce Vita.
Okay, so
Because he was saying ex-girlfriend before, and then all of a sudden he's saying my name.
yeah, so at first he just knew ex-girlfriend. He didn't know for sure it was you.
Yes, ma'am.
But you're the one he called, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
he has a lot of ex-girlfriends, as y'all discussed on the calls.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know why it is that he chose you out of all the 87 ex-girlfriends to call?
He's just exaggerating about the 87 girlfriends. I don't know why he called me.
All right, well, how many
I was the-
ex-girlfriends does he have?
I was the only last ex-girlfriend, like he was stating, to his knowledge.
But they didn't say last ex-girlfriend.
No, but I'm saying he said ex-girlfriend. I was his last ex-girlfriend.
Okay. Why did you help Charlie investigate who this person was that approached his mother?
I can't tell you why, like I did. I mean, he's asked me weird stuff before, but somebody mentioned my name and that's what piqued my interest. I was like, why would somebody approach your mother saying my name? And then I didn't know about Tuto's name until later on.
But even before that, you were willing to help him with this problem, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it your testimony to this jury that you don't recall any of the conversation that occurred between you and Charlie Adelson at Dolce Vita?
Not that I didn't remember, I just I know he was saying different scenarios. Somebody bumped into his mom and he was saying different scenarios, but like I said, he
What
goes off
scenarios?
that it could be cops or it could be somebody harassing his family for money or extorting his family for money.
And
But
why would it be the cops?
I don't know, because he's always talking about the cops.
Okay, but you didn't ask him why the cops would be running an undercover operation on his mother?
No, ma'am.
And you don't remember him reading to you a phone number from a piece of paper?
No, ma'am.
Have
He
you
didn't
s-
show me a paper. He might have given me a number, like giving me a number, but he didn't show me any paper.
Okay, but you've seen the video, correct?
Of the Dolce Visa?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And he pulled out a piece of paper clearly on that video, right?
No, ma'am.
He did not.
He did not show me any
All
paper.
right. Is that you and Charlie on the video? I know you can only see your legs, but is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that's Charlie Adelson?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so he told you different scenarios. It could be the cops or it could be, what else?
Somebody extorting money from his family.
And why would somebody be extorting money from his family?
I don't know. He's had dealings with other people before, like,
But to extort, you have to have some leverage on the person, right? You have to have something on them.
I guess.
And what was the thing that this person might have on Mr. Adelson?
He didn't, I mean, he might have said something, but like I said, he just goes on and on about stuff.
And he told you to find out who this was that contacted his mother.
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall him telling you that this person, if it's not the cops, may need to be killed?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember that he said, well, let me ask it this way. You talked about on direct that you just kind of tuned him out during this conversation. Is that accurate?
Certain conversations, yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you can tell the jury that he definitely did not say that the person may need to be killed.
Yes, because I remember something like that.
Oh, you would have tuned back in for that?
I would just remember him saying, like, why would you say something like that?
What else can you tell the jury specifically about that conversation?
I don't remember much about that conversation. Like I said,
Okay,
that was
well,
years ago.
You don't remember much, that's still good enough for us. Tell us what you do remember.
That he was saying the same thing, that he thought, you know, like it could be the cops or somebody extorting money from his family.
That's it?
That's all I can recall.
Did he tell you the phone number of the person that he
I-
wanted you to call?
I don't know if he told me the phone number there or at a later time.
Okay, but at some
don't
point you
remember.
got that phone number?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Do you remember Charlie Adelson at that Dolce meeting telling you that you should call the number and tell the person that he is, or you are willing to help out the person, but it was a one-time deal and it was just for charity?
Objection, hearsay, facts not in evidence.
Overruled.
Did that occur?
I only remember that because a portion of the tape where you had some transcript, and I might have read that part, but I don't remember that from that day.
Okay, and so if he was gonna keep this person quiet through the guise of an act of charity, that'd be kind of similar to how he kept you quiet, right?
No, ma'am.
I mean, he gave you a lot of gifts, didn't he?
Which gifts?
Well, he gave you a paid for trip to Santo Domingo for you and Mr. Garcia. Is that true?
No, that's actually for my children and I visiting his parents, his mom, my mother-in-law.
Did Charlie pay for it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he call in prescriptions for you, Mr. Adelson?
Did he call in prescriptions for
Yes,
me?
ma'am.
Yes, he has before.
Did he let you drive his Ferrari?
No,
Did he pay for your Mazda repair?
not that I can recall. I'm pretty sure I paid for my Mazda repairs.
Did he pay for your insurance?
For what?
Insurance?
I didn't have insurance through him.
So no to insurance, no to Mazda repair, and no to Ferrari?
Yeah, no, I never drove his Ferrari.
Okay. Did he pay for a meal service for you?
Yes, I remember that.
Did he pay your credit card bill one time when you couldn't make your credit card bill?
Not that I can recall.
Did he ever give you cash?
Not that I can recall.
On May 20th, 2015, do you recall sending a text to Mr. Adelson asking him for money?
I don't remember that.
Okay, and do you remember Mr. Adelson giving you $1,400 6 days later?
I don't remember that.
Is that something you would remember?
Yes, if you gave me that amount of money.
But your testimony is you don't have any recollection of him ever giving you any cash.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
And you never saw any cash in his place when you were over there.
No, I don't remember that.
Did he pay for a cruise for you and your mom?
No,
Did he pay for breast augmentation for you?
no,
Did he pay for teeth whitening for you or your family?
no. I pay for my teeth whitening.
Did he offer to let you use his boat?
He's offered, yes, but I never took it.
What about his limousines?
I paid for the limousine service.
He owns a limo, right?
I didn't know if he owned the limo. I paid the driver for like hourly
Okay, you tipped the driver or you paid hourly for the service?
for the service.
And would any of those things have come out of your account? Either of your bank accounts?
I mean, I had the cash for it.
So you paid for all the things that we just talked about in cash?
I don't remember. I don't recall if I made some with my credit card, made some with my, paid some with cash.
What about the Mazda repair? Do you recall whether you paid for that with cash or credit card?
I think I paid with a credit card.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
And how much cash did you typically have on hand?
It depends, like whatever amount that I make in the club and like I start saving up, then I put it away. So I can have between $2,000-$3,000 on me,
When you say put it away, what do you mean?
like put it in my bank.
Okay,
Like I'll save it up in my house and then I'll put it away when I get a chance to go to the bank.
okay. But all these things that you have paid for, like, let's just take the breast augmentation, for example. You
Yes,
indicate
ma'am.
you paid for that.
Yes, ma'am.
But there, if you're putting your cash in the bank, there's no cash withdrawal to correspond to you paying cash for that breast
But I wouldn't
augmentation.
I'm not gonna deposit money that I'm gonna use already. I already saved up that money for my
Okay, so you would
breast
save the
augmentation.
money separately, not deposit it.
Well, I
and then
knew,
pay
yeah,
cash.
because I already had my consultation in the beginning of that year, the beginning of 2014. So I was already saving up
Okay,
so
why
that
would
when I get the, go ahead.
you were saving up for the breast augmentation?
Yeah,
But
I
you
already had it.
needed Charlie Adelson to put you on the payroll so that you could get insurance for your kids.
I was saving because I've always wanted my breast augmentation.
Okay.
And the insurance for my kids is because my son had a disability, so I had to do a bunch of therapies for my son.
Okay. And you heard that Wendy Adelson testified that she's never known her brother to give any gifts to any ex-girlfriends. Did you hear that?
No, I don't recall that.
Okay. Well, what makes you so special that Charlie Adelson wanted to give you all these things after the end of your relationship?
All these things, like you make it seem like he's giving me all of this stuff out of the blue.
Yeah, I do make it seem like that. Why is he giving you all this stuff?
I don't know.
Why did he put you on the payroll? Is that as a favor,
Yes, ma'am.
not as payment for murder,
No, ma'am.
not to keep you happy?
Why wouldn't he just pay me the cash? Why would I have to get a check from somewhere?
I'm going to ask the questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So he put you on the payroll 2 months after the homicide, yes?
2 months after the homicide, I will started. Yes, ma'am.
All right. And were you involved in a sexual relationship with Mr. Adelson at that time?
I'm not 100% sure, like at the time frame. I believe so.
Okay. So you were still sleeping with him after the homicide.
I believe so.
And was there an actual job opening at the Adelson Institute that you filled with this position?
No, ma'am.
All right. So it's a position that he created for you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And you heard testimony from the employees that work there that they've never heard of anybody working remotely before in the history of that office. why did Mr. Adelson create a position for you?
Well,
That's never been
I
done
asked him
before.
for a favor if he can do that.
Okay. What job description did you have when you worked for Mr. Adelson?
I said I was just his like personal assistant. I wasn't going to the office
Okay.
for that.
Why did you on the wire talk about going to the office on the weekends?
Because he did want me to go to in the office to clean up a bit, but I never did it.
Wasn't it a joke between you and Mr. Adelson about this job that you were performing for him?
I guess.
You didn't do anything on the laptop in reference to his work?
On the laptop,
Yes, ma'am.
like sign in into the Dentrix.
Yeah.
I believe I've done it before.
How many
Yes.
times did you do that?
I don't recall.
And what type of work did you do when you logged into Dentrix?
Well, I was just looking at the patients, like the scheduling.
Okay, and did you schedule any patients?
No, I didn't schedule anything.
Are there any
He would-
patients we could call that could verify that they've ever had any contact with you?
Not that I can recall. No.
Did you ever go to the office on the weekends for any purpose?
I believe I have, like probably, but not often, like once or twice
All
only.
right, and what was the purpose of that?
He
Is
wanted
it-
me to clean up in the office.
Oh, you
I
went
probably
up-
just stopped by at the office. Don't quite recall what I did. It's been a couple of years,
All right.
but I have stopped at the office before.
Okay, let's
weekend.
talk about the nightclub employment that you
Yes, ma'am.
talked about. You testified that you were in fact employed at a nightclub around the time of the homicide. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you said that you make up to $1,500 a night at the nightclub.
Had a good day, a
All right,
good
and
night.
at what nightclub was that?
That was at Fate.
All right, and Fate's the place that wrote you the checks that bounced?
Yes, ma'am.
And on those checks that bounced, the amount was, I can't remember exactly, but maybe $1,200 or $1,700 for a month, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that was tips for a whole month?
No, it's the reason why they gave us those checks and the reason why it bounced, because a lot of us girls were complaining about it's supposed to be the way that like the owner or the whatever accountant guy that did it, he wanted to do just a percentage. So if like they swipe their card, it's a percentage of that is supposed to be our tips. Anything that's cash that the patrons, pay for is like goes straight to our pocket.
Okay,
So it's that
So
that
it was
was for
credit
like a
card
credit
tips.
card, yeah, like a credit card percentage.
all right. And so your credit card tips for the month were whatever that amount was
Yes,
that was
ma'am.
on that check. All right, and that's what bounced.
Yes, ma'am. Twice,
Right,
I
and
believe.
Did you quit Club Fate because of the bouncing checks?
Yes, ma'am. And they were withholding some of our like money.
All right. How many times in your career as a bottle girl did you make $1,500 in one night?
How many times?
Yeah,
I can't recall.
more than 5,
Yes,
more than 10?
I can't give you like a specific number.
Would you agree with Ms. Mascara's testimony that an average night at the clubs was $100 to $200?
Objection,
That's not what-
misstatement of the facts. It's not-
Overruled.
Would you agree with that?
No, ma'am.
Would you agree with Ms. Mascara's testimony that a good night at the club was $400 to $500 a night?
A good night, that's a good night to her,
Okay.
but
that
she was
wasn't a good
working
night
in
for you.
Hollywood Live with me. Fate was a higher scale club,
Okay.
and I was also doing bartending as well. She wasn't bartending at those places.
All right, and did the club that Ms. Mascara worked at, the lower end club, did the checks bounce there as well?
No, we never received checks in that club.
And do you have any documentation to show that you were, like schedules or something like that to show your schedule around the time of the homicide at these clubs?
Objection, burdenship.
Overruled.
I mean, I should have had it in my texts. Like sometimes like they give us a schedule or they'll call us and tell us, okay, can you come in this and this date? Or we would be, for that weekend, we would already know more or less what days to come in.
Okay, and who was your boss at that time?
I Can't even remember his name because he got fired.
All right, is he here? Is he in Tallahassee for this trial?
No,
What about any girls that you worked with? Anybody
I
like
don't
that?
remember their
here?
names. No, this
Any
was
regular
years ago.
customers?
No.
Would you agree, Ms. McVanola, that you deposited $13,000 in cash in August of 2014?
If that's what my bank records show,
Okay, and that's the month after the murder, right?
I believe so.
Okay. You can't make that much at the club, can you?
The $13,000,
Yeah.
unless I've saved up and then I just deposited it that month.
Okay, is that what happened?
But that all my income wasn't specifically from there. It was, there's times that I've gotten money from Sigfredo.
All right, well, is it a coincidence, Ms. McVanola, that when you notice the striking spike in your income that happens exactly at the time of this homicide? Don't you? I mean, it's there, isn't it?
Well, in your diagram, yes,
Yeah, but I mean, do you have a reason to dispute this diagram?
it
It's
just,
based on your cash deposits, isn't it?
I guess so.
All right, and so you would agree that there is a pretty striking amount of money that came in, that you came into immediately after this homicide.
From your diagram, I could see that, but I don't recall that.
When did Sigfredo Garcia find out that Charlie Adelson was involved in this conspiracy?
When did he find out?
Yeah.
I believe when he got arrested.
What about when you came home after meeting with Charlie Adelson at Dolce Vita? Did you tell Mr. Garcia that you'd met with Mr. Adelson?
I don't know about the time frame again. I don't know if when I came home, I said that I spoke to Charlie.
Would you agree in the calls and texts that follow that meeting with Mr. Adelson, Mr. Garcia is really angry with you?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And he said in that text that we listened to recently, or somebody read from the stand, whatever is going on with you and your homie is your business. You guys work that shit out. Don't text me. Who's your homie in that sentence?
I believe he was referring to Charlie.
Right. And he was angry to find out that Charlie was involved, wasn't he?
I believe so, yes.
Charlie told you he wanted this problem flushed. You were asked about that call on direct.
Yes, ma'am.
And was the problem the gang member who was threatening to extort his mother?
I know he was just joking about that on that phone call, but I think it's because I used the restroom and then he referred to it as the problem flushing, and because he was really talking to Yindra on the phone first.
Right, and I got the whole reference to the bathroom humor, but the problem that he's referring to that he wants flushed is this guy that's extorting his mother, right?
I believe so.
Right. And flushed means he wants the problem resolved.
I would assume,
And you're the one to do it.
I guess.
Is Mr. Garcia familiar with handguns?
Is he familiar with
Objection,
that?
Judge. Overruled.
Yes, ma'am.
I guess so.
Have you seen the ATM images
Yes, I
that are in
have.
evidence in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is that Mr. Rivera and Mr. Garcia?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Garcia dumped his phone right after this murder, didn't he? Shortly after.
I guess so.
I mean, you were blowing him up and couldn't get him because the phone was off, right?
I believe so.
Do you have WhatsApp, or I should ask, back in 2014, did you have WhatsApp on your phone?
I think so.
All right. And what is WhatsApp?
It's just another like instant message.
All right. Did you hear the testimony about Wendy Adelson having visited the crime scene?
Yes, ma'am.
And did Miss Adelson communicate with you through WhatsApp?
What's up? JL, I don't know if you're still here. Oh, that was 10 minutes ago. Probably not. Okay. Okay, so there's Susan Bonds at Yahoo. Oh God. So this one can be the fuck is he? It's Norman Nick show.